There we go. This is called Grains of Sand. Hopefully.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Songs Nobody Asked Me For. This is one of those moments where I recorded an episode about an hour ago and quite pleased with it, sat down, went to do playback, and there was no sound, which is really infuriating. It's happened to me 2 or 3 times, and then you lose everything, and you kind of think, that's a bit annoying, isn't it? But then maybe it gives me an opportunity to do it even better for you. I don't know. Welcome to Songs Nobody Asked Me For. And I'm sort of sandwiched here between a couple of interviews, I think. Grace Lightman on one side, and Cam on the other, who's coming next week. You don't know that yet, so I do, because I did the interview yesterday. But I thought I like to sort of space them out, as I don't have enough interviews to do one every week. So it's good to be, pacing them a little bit, really, pacing them. The name of this episode that I had in my head was Treading Water, really. And I wanted to sort of think about what it's like when not much is happening for your band or music, really. And what you do with yourself, because it's a problem for me, because where I am in life now, this is kind of my passion, and I want to be doing it loads, but I lots of time I don't get the opportunity to do that for various reasons. And at the moment, that's been a combination of people in the band going on holiday and the World Cup. Okay, now it's both a blessing and a curse being in an older band. Blessing is lots of experience, more confidence. We know what we're doing. And I don't have that sort of angst-ridden desire to make it that maybe I had when I was younger. But I do have an angst-ridden desire to be good and to sound good and maybe just to get some more gigs and to play more regularly and have a following and stuff like that. That's what I want to do. But the downside of being in an older band is that I think we are generally busier. And so we all have our lives and our kids and holidays and things that we're doing. And so me trying to work out getting gigs, having practices amongst that can be tricky. And generally we practice on a Wednesday. We do that every week. It generally works. It's fine. But we've just had a little period recently where it hasn't worked. We had Tim's been away a couple of times. That's just how it is. Brad's away in September, I think, for a couple of weeks. They're the ones that most go away in a sense. And Tim has been away. He's away for 2 weeks now. And we did a gig, and then we had a whole month before we have these 2 gigs coming up. We're playing Tabby Fringe again. Shows me how long this has been going, because I know that I put a video on here of us playing at Tabby Fringe a long while back, a year ago, I guess. A little less than a year it will be, because of course I'm ahead of myself here. And I remember showing you that because of the weird setup of the audience being quite a bit away from the stage we were on. But we're on a different stage this time. We're in a sort of stage, or on a stage by a beer garden with a bar and a river, and I think it's going to be a much better place to play. Looking forward to it. But we've got that, and then we have another outdoors, like a little town festival in a place called Dobwalls, which is somewhere in. I think it's in Devon. Yes, so. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to both of them. And but I'm a man who likes to make sure we're rehearsed and on top of things. And after the months ago, it's 3 weeks ago at the moment when we did a gig, then we had 2 weeks to practice, and then Tim's away for 2 weeks. And the first week we were going to practice, got it all set up, and it was the first day of England's part in the World Cup. And a couple of the guys really wanted to see it. One in particular said, no, I want to watch this match. And it's fine, it's perfectly okay. This isn't a dictatorship, it's not a job people get paid for. So, of course, we reschedule and rearrange. But we couldn't reschedule for a practice. I don't think people realised that we only had 2 practices, some of them anyway. So it didn't happen. And what we did instead, I think, is that John and myself and Graham, our percussionist, we met up and we worked on some new songs. A couple of new songs we're still trying to get through the band. But I was a bit frustrated, you know. But understanding, but being frustrated, you can be both. So then last week we had a full practice. And it was funny because I banged on at everybody. You've got to be around for Wednesday. We really need to do this. And then I couldn't make Wednesday. Something came up and I couldn't do Wednesday. But we managed to do Tuesday, which was great, except that it was another England match. It was kind of bloody bonkers, I tell you. It worked out okay, but one of the guys who really wanted to see the football, they were good about it. He recorded it. I listened to the second half on the way home. It was the England-Guyana match, and it was pretty dull, I think. So it wasn't one we needed to worry about missing. Then there was the third match, and then we were supposed to have, we were going to have a practice this Wednesday while Tim was away. But that created some difficulty because, of course, again, England match. It was the first, the 32 knockout one. So John came over here again because John's not into the football, and I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I watched the second half because it was on at 5 o'clock. So John came over at 7:30. I listened to the first half driving home, watched the second half. John came over. We did an hour, same new songs, and then next week, excuse me. Next week, Brad's going to join us and we're going to work again on those songs. So I'm trying to work out a new way of bringing songs into the band because John and I working on something and bringing it to the band used to work when there were 3 of us or 4 of us, but with 5 of us, it's just too much. So we go from having an idea what we're doing and then a big noise because everybody's playing at the same time and everybody's trying to get their bit in and feel heard and this sort of thing. And so, It doesn't work really, so we're going to plan to do that. But all of this has meant it's a big interruption. No gigs in for a month, and 1 full band practice. We'll be fine. I don't worry about us how we're going to play, but that's not how I'd like to do things. And I feel I'm treading water. I feel like the band at the moment is good, but we need to keep getting tighter and tighter to progress. Really, we need to progress. We need some new material. Helps me to get better gigs and that. So I get frustrated when I can't do anything, and I'm not very good at sitting on my hands and not doing very much at all, and struggle with it. So sought to work some of this out, and I've done a couple of things. One of the things I've done, which I haven't done in years, is I've booked in to do 2 solo act acoustic cafe things. I'll be selling the band the whole time, because I love the band, but I've booked them. I think there's one beginning of September and one in early December, at times when the band aren't playing, because I think then what I felt it might do was add a little bit of a ongoing process, and if for nothing else, to shut me up, because I'll be feeling like I'm doing something and progressing. The other thing I've done is focus a little bit more on social media, and I've had this little adventure which is slightly weird. Now we have one track, I'm very proud of it, it's called Grains of Sand, and if you've seen us live you'll know generally we finish with Grains of Sand. Very upbeat, and but it's been on a journey. I played it in my band in London. Wrote it with Pav. Well, I didn't. I wrote it actually. It's one of the songs I wrote the words and the music to. And Pav worked the song out with me, and we did that in the band. And I think it was a pretty successful song. We had a sax player with us. My brother was playing sax for a while, it sounded a particular way. I'm just trying to think. I don't have any video of us playing it, but if I can find the recording of it, well, I've got to sort of move it from cassette onto a disc, which isn't a straightforward process, but not impossible. So maybe what I'll do is I'll play you a little bit of that now. And if I hadn't managed it, you won't hear it, really. It's as simple as that. It then morphed itself when we became a 3-piece, and and it was similar. The bass line was different, but still lots of energy. And it's so rude of me that I'm yawning because I'm tired, but I don't want to not do the podcast, really. So I'm going to work through it, push through it. So I've got a video of us doing that. Now this is quite nice because this picture is up behind me, and it's always up behind me. It's just a little wall of a little wall. There's 4 things on there. There's 4 little pictures up there of band stuff, just in this corner here. And at this gig is the video. The video that I'm going to show you is from this gig. And this was our How to Save the Day EP launch. And if you go onto Spotify, you'll find our EP, How to Save the Day. And this was in 2021, November 2021. So sort of post-lockdown. And we set up this gig, this launch gig for the EP. And we did it at a place called the Vineyard Centre, which Plymouth Vineyard is a church. The Vineyard is a national church. Plymouth Vineyard is a local church. I've talked about faith and stuff, and that was where I first really got into being okay about being in church again. They let us do it there. They had a sort of shop that they rented as their church. In a sense, they used to do drop-ins, and they had some sort of school uniform shop and a sort of service for providing sort of nursery equipment and baby stuff for parents that couldn't afford stuff, and that was all on the ground floor. And upstairs they had these offices and a big space, And in the big space we set up, because it was just post-COVID, a really nice setup of sort of round tables, really like a sort of cafe experience, and people sat at the tables. We only invited about 20 people, maybe 25. Everybody came, which was nice. So it was really intimate, and there were friends and people that were, keen to watch us. And we also broadcast it on Facebook Live. So we streamed it, very technological of us, and we got about 20, 25 people listening on that as well. So it was nice. And as is our want, we finished with Grains of Sand. And here is a little clip from that very gig with us playing Grains of Sand.
Trying not to analyze the evening that's just gone. Wondering if I said too much, why am I always wrong?
Wow, I like that. Full of energy. It's got a lot of energy. It's got that buzz. Now, I've also shown this at other times on, because there's a later version of that we did at Freedom Festival. In fact, the podcast they did about Freedom Festival, the first clip I showed in that was of Grains of Sand, I believe. I think I might have even played a second clip of how we do it now, which is good because that's what I'm going to talk about. So it evolved from this first session. Then we were still playing it in a similar way. That's maybe 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And then when Tim joined us, it was a song he felt he couldn't really play. He just said, I can't do that rhythm. He said, well, I could do this. And started doing a sort of drum and bass type of rhythm. Wow, liking that, So we jammed around it. And you'll know that I'm not very good at jamming. But it was okay. We kind of worked something out. And then when we went to a recording studio to do our EP, which is called It Takes a Little Time, which you can find on Spotify as well. That came out this year, or last year rather. But you can also find it on Bandcamp, because that's my new experiment. One of the things I'm doing whilst treading water, getting stuff put on Bandcamp, because if you really love me, you can go on to Bandcamp, find the band, and you can buy the online streaming, so you can pay, I think it's £4.50 for an EP, bargain, 4 tracks are £4.50, and when a single comes out there, so I think it's £1.50, so not bad, but it we get that money. That's one of the rare places where we get that money. Anyway, when we did that recording for It Takes a Little Time, we did 5 tracks rather than 4 on the EP, but we recorded Grains, and we did it was quite jammy actually as a recording. Weren't quite sure where it was going to go, how we were going to do it, but loved what we did. And what we've done then is worked on getting it to be like we did on that. So in this sort of downtime, in this time of treading water, I thought, well, I can also focus, I'll release that track as a single. So that's coming out the 1st of August, which probably when you see this is already out. And then I made a little trailer for it. And I made a little trailer of, it's like a psychedelic thing with some of the music in the background. I'm going to show you this now as well. well, you've probably seen it on Spotify or on Facebook rather, but I'm going to show it now. Now this was a bit weird for me because I like it. I think it's got a real energy. I love the new version of the song. But I did an ad on Facebook. I paid for some advertising. I do that occasionally. I paid 10 quid, 5 quid, 12 quid. When I did the Songs Nobody Asked Us For first event, I paid for one of these promotion ads. And I paid maybe about 25 quid. And I got about 60 people liking it, rather than, with our normal ones. I might get anything from sort of 6 to 12 to 15 people, but, got more, 60 odd people liked it. I did the same for this, and you can choose your audience, and I just chose a worldwide audience, I thought, well, I'll choose the world, really. Why not? Let's let the world listen to what I do. And as we speak, I think it has about 1,200 likes, which is massive for a little group like us. Lots of, positive comments in the main about it. Someone saying we like the Police, someone going, wow. Somebody saying, oh, it's got, I love the vibe of this. And, so this is good stuff, but slightly discombobulated by it because I'm not sure whether it's real or whether it's not. Because we had the difficulty on Spotify, if you remember before, where we thought we were selling loads of tracks, but we weren't, and when we were being AI botted, and Spotify took me off for a while because they thought I'd done it. Of course, it must be that. So we'll see. I can't really see why it would be false because I can't really see what anybody would gain from us. Really, maybe somebody could tell me. But if nothing else, it's good numbers on the Facebook page for a while. People go, wow, look at that. If it's real, then maybe we'll get a lot of sales when we put the track out, or maybe somebody of significance will notice it and, ask us to come play somewhere or record something or do something like that. I'd like that. I'd like a little break. That's why I like a little break, This is what I've been filling my time with, a lot of social media, a lot of doing this. I'm not playing much at the moment. It's really annoying me because I've been very busy and I haven't really had the time, but I've just got out all my electric equipment here. You can't see it, but I often don't. If we've got weekly practices, if I'm going to play anything here, I'll play on one of the acoustics or just a very simple setup. But I thought, every now and then it's good to get the pedals out, everything I use when I play live, and just try and do something with that, really. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to the gig. Really looking forward to the 11th of July because I can get back out with a band again. Hopefully we can sort of move on a little bit then. I know that people are away in August, so that's not going to be so straightforward, but we'll see. And hopefully I will be back in a musical vibe and place when I next speak to you, because I don't like being out of it for too long. It starts to affect my psychological well-being. I don't feel so up at the moment because I'm not doing that stuff. I miss it, and life becomes a bit more complicated. I don't know. We'll see. Do follow the band, as I say. Hashtag Amusing the Curve is where you can find us. Please subscribe and like the podcast. And enjoy yourselves out there. It's getting sunny again here for the second of our major heat waves that we've been promised. It's not that hot yet, but I'm sure it will be. So look after yourselves, whatever weather you're finding yourselves in. He said in a lovely British way. And catch you out.